was a zero. I was probably a negative back when I was 25. I hit my rock bottom in that victim mindset. That victim mindset led to over drinking a lot and partying and numbing myself. I rewrote my story and what I wanted in my relationship, and I put together a sentence. My money mindset, or money means to me, it is intentional effort to have a strong warrior mindset. We can't move forward if we don't figure this out.
Okay, welcome everybody. We are so excited to have a very special guest for you today. My dear friend Susan Vernicek is here. She is a mindset coach and she has been a friend of mine for a long time. And I love listening to her talk about mindset. So welcome, Susan. Happy to have you here.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. I've missed you, and thank you so much for asking me to be a guest. I'm
Of
honored.
course. Yeah, please tell our audience who you are, what you do, and all the good stuff.
So I'm Susan Vernicek. I have been an entrepreneur for 20 years this month. And
Wow.
I know I'm still like, whoa, crazy. It's crazy. I started when I was 25, and I started out of my own need and want and desire, which is how many of us do start. And from that point on, I've built multiple income streams. I coach on mindset. I coach on action and sales. And, I've just built an amazing career coaching, having programs, publishing books, and speaking around the country. So I've been honored. And it's a little bit about me.
Oh, that sounds amazing. I know everyone listening wants that life. So let's get started. Let's dig into your story and your journey. Tell me a little bit about where you are in your mindset from what I like to call zero to warrior.
I love it. I would say I'm about at an 8.
An 8. All right. Have you
Yeah.
always been at an 8?
I think honestly, I believe that if you were asked me this question every quarter, it probably would fluctuate. And I think we have seasons of mindset warrior, right? Like how we're doing, where we are, the seasons in our life, stages, and there's always room to strive for your strongest warrior, as you call it.
Yeah.
And so I don't think I'll ever be at a 10.
Interesting.
I think I'm always, and you and I have been friends for a while. For me, it's effort. It is intentional effort to have a strong warrior mindset. And it's gotten easier over the years, but it's not perfect and it's never 100%.
I love that. There's so much honesty in that answer, right? And that always tells me that you've done the work because, sometimes I have people and they'll be like, I'm at a 10. And I'm like, that's wonderful. But then most people will always add, like, I'm not always there, or like, I struggle just like everyone else. And I think that's honestly what makes for a good coach or a good friend, right? When you're able to be honest about yourself and your struggles and your wins. So you said it takes an effort to stay here. So tell me, was there a time in your life when you struggled to be here? Like, what has your journey been like? Have you had a transformation that led you to be here?
Oh, yeah. I was a zero. I was probably a negative back when I was 25. And if you talk about mindset, and I think back to where I am now, at that negative, when I was at negative 0, I was more in a victim mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And woe is me, and my life stinks, and I don't want to live in the US because I was just living in London, right? Spent the summer traveling the world, and I came home for responsibilities, and then I had a job that I didn't love, and I hit my rock bottom in that victim mindset, and that victim mindset led to over drinking a lot and partying and numbing myself and doing all the things from 25 to 28 was when I really started to climb out of it. And you ask, what kind of got started was me starting my magazine, the Identity magazine, and hiring a therapist. I started therapy. And that was the moment. That was the turn in events and the work for 20 years. It started there.
Wow. I love that. Thank you for sharing that because, I love sharing the before and after of a strong mindset because then it makes it that much more relatable for people who are maybe struggling
Yeah.
right now. So when you say, you were therapy changed things for you, would you say that you always had the drive to do the work, even though you were in that victim mindset? The minute therapy kicked in, you were like, okay, I'm going to do the work. Or was it a struggle to get to that point?
Oh, such a great question. And I think I could say both
Mm,
because it was a struggle. Um, it was a struggle because it was like vulnerability, and therapy gave me a space to cry. Like
mm,
I just remember crying a lot and releasing a lot.
wow.
And at the same time, though, I think I played sports all through 2 years in college. I stopped after my sophomore year, but I played sports all my life. I think that subconsciously I had a drive to achieve because I
Mm,
did it in sports and I was competitive, and I always met like the goal in sports. Like I always made varsity as a freshman. And then when I was in college, I was a walk-on and I tried out and I made the team and I played, right? And then when I started therapy and I started my business, that like was this whole other game. It was like a sport game. I was
mm,
like, oh my gosh, I'm learning this whole other industry of, I had no clue. I had an art degree, not business.
wow.
And I felt that energy like in sports.
I love that
But it was
analogy.
still, but it still was a struggle because I was a mess
Mm,
emotionally, right? And so I had to really undo and release a lot to move forward and to like break through. That's why I say both.
yeah. No, I get it. I get it. Like the sports definitely gave you the drive, right? Because
Yeah,
that was something you were good at and you knew you could push and get better. But
yeah,
then there were still things that you couldn't figure out. And then therapy
yeah,
helped you process all of that.
right.
Um, Beautiful. So you started your magazine, you're going to therapy, things are starting to look better.
Yeah,
How did that journey lead you into mindset coaching?
yeah. Well, therapy opened up the door. Books, I started reading and diving into personal development, self-help. The one of the very first books, and I wasn't a reader then. Right now, I
Mm,
love reading, but I wasn't a reader then. But the first book, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel.
yeah.
I read that, and then the magazine itself was healing because I was sharing stories and articles, and I was getting other experts to share their personal stories, and so you're growing and evolving as you're learning and trying to build a business with no background. And as you continue to show up, right, you build that trust. You break barriers. You get resilient in areas, right? And if you are consistent in showing up, you grow, and things just lead to another. And then it's fast forward 20 years, right? But in between that, I wrote a book, and then I started to travel and speak. And then from speaking, I was coaching live in person on the spot. And I'll never forget the feedback that I was receiving in that space. And it was really positive feedback. And what they said to me was, you're sharing from your personal experience. You climbed out, which gives me evidence and hope that I can do it. And so at
Mm,
that time, I was teaching them the tools and the resources and the books that I was reading. And then when I heard the feedback that, oh my God, I'm actually helping people, then I was like, I want to learn more about coaching, life coaching, general coaching, mindset coaching, and it led into that and certifications. And I always was a student. I'm always a student. I always have coaches myself. I hired sales coaches. I hired my own mindset coaches. I hired entrepreneur coaches. I hired marketing. I took marketing
courses.
courses,
Mhm.
investments. So I joined networking groups and conferences, and that's right? That's like all the
Yeah.
meat inside from 0 to 10 at Warrior at times.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. So, in my book, I talk about from victim to victor. And
Yeah.
do you feel like now you're in that victor state of mind where it's like nothing can stop you and you'll find a way even if you don't know the way?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's like what's the saying? I don't even know. I can't think of a saying right now, but it's almost like I wish I didn't have this level of awareness and mindset because you call your own BS.
Yeah.
Right. So sometimes you're in victimhood and you're like, I just want to be a victim today. Give me 5 minutes or give me an hour. But
Yeah.
you're so educated. You know this. You can
You
say,
know.
right, like we know we have to get out of it. Like we
Yeah.
know it's our choice and we know that it's a shift.
Yeah.
So
I always
it's
say like, okay, just don't bother me today. Like give me a
yeah,
day. I'll be back
yeah,
tomorrow, but I'm going to take this time to allow myself
yeah,
to feel whatever is coming up and it's okay. There's no
yeah,
judgment. I'm going to give myself grace as maybe I just want to cry about it. Maybe I just want to
yeah,
just vent about it and rant about it. And that's when
yeah,
I call people like you or, we would
yeah,
talk. And it's perfect
exactly.
because you need that as well, right? You need to give yourself space. And the
You
more
do.
that I do this work, I'm realizing that it's important to allow those emotions, those feelings to have space to be processed. Um,
Yes. Like
yeah,
we don't always have to fix ourselves right away,
yeah. I think that's
right?
part of the learning of the mindset as well, right? It's like, okay,
Yeah,
yes, you can turn the mindset and make it a
yeah,
positive one, but you don't always have to. Sometimes it's
right.
okay to let yourself break down and have that pity party, as I like to call it.
Yeah,
But just,
exactly.
we don't want that to last forever because then that doesn't serve
Exactly.
us. Yeah, beautiful.
Exactly. You can't have that
Um,
spiral.
Absolutely. Oh, I so agree. So tell me a little bit about, your approach to mindset coaching. Do you have a certain system you follow, a particular way that you work with people? How do you show up for your clients?
Yeah, I think, and over the years, it's really developed. I have this A game approach, this formula and approach that when my business coach, like when I first started speaking, so back in like 2012, 2011, asked me, how are you able to overcome all the obstacles that you've overcome? And how are you able, like, is there a process? Is there a system? And there is, and it's simple to a degree. We don't always do it because we're all out usually on autopilot, right? And just going through the motions. So the first thing is always to slow down and catch your awareness, self-awareness. And it's like, okay, what's going on? Um, how do I feel? What's happening? Like all the facts and the emotions. And then it's deciding whether you're going to let go of the resistance. So I always say in my A game formula, it's self-awareness, it's self-acceptance, it's appreciation, and all of that will lead to your personal achievements. And as you acknowledge your achievements, you have this internal um, ritual or cycle of self-motivation, right? But we can't change or evolve anything unless we're even aware of what it is we want to change, shift, improve, grow. So it takes this awareness, and a lot of times people don't have it because they're on autopilot and you're stuck on that autopilot cycle. So
Yeah.
that's when you come across your podcast, right? Or somebody's book or a word on a radio, and something jolts you and wakes you up, and then you start diving into whatever it is to start your journey, right? And there's
Yeah.
always somebody, I'm sure you have people in your life that were like, oh, and you then want to take action, right? Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I always say the same thing. Awareness is the first step. If you're not aware, you can't change it, right? If you don't know what to
Right,
change, how are you going to change it? I love
right.
that. I also find that in my work, a lot of times I'll see like people struggling with the same thing over and over. There's a repetitive pattern that comes
Yeah,
up over and over, like you're saying, autopilot. I see it as like recurring issues in their health, their relationship, or finances, and it just keeps happening in some way, shape, or form. Like people will
yeah,
attract a partner, and then a toxic boss, and then a toxic neighbor. And I'm like, why are you attracting this? Let's dig a little deeper. What's going on? And then we start asking
yeah,
the right questions. and then we get to the answers. So awareness is the first step. We have to be aware about what's going on.
Mhm.
Check your patterns, check your, autopilot. Where are you attracting
Yeah.
problems, and things like that. So beautiful. And then when it comes to your coaching practice, if somebody who's listening right now is struggling, let's say financially, for example, we'll just use that as an example,
Yeah.
because I know you have, a wonderful program that you offer around that. What is it, 0 to 100K? How do you call it? What do you call it?
Oh, the Mindset Achieve course and coaching program. Yeah. Road to 100K and beyond.
Nice. Yeah.
I
So
know.
we'll use that example of someone struggling financially, right? Somebody who's listening, dealing with that money mindset. What would be your, few tips that you can share?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think what money or anything, it's first the awareness. Okay, so what is it? How much money? What's going on with my money? Like you have to kind of brain dump. Like, okay, here's my money situation. Get it all out. What do you want your money situation to be, and how do we get from A to B? How do we bridge the gap? Well, in my formula, it's first the awareness, then it's that self-acceptance. Well, and it's not resignation or settling, it's embracing, owning, acknowledging, and then releasing the resistance. Like, are you ready, and are you willing to appreciate, that's the other A, right, where you're at now, appreciate all of the facts to your financials or this circumstance. Like, appreciate all of what you have, all of this evidence. It's a story, it's a pattern, and then take that to achieve something new or your next level. So we have to release all the resistance and the boundaries, but we have to love it and appreciate it and thank it, because it's evidence, it's research, it's patterns, it's knowledge, it's details to our story, in this case, money, right? So let's look at it. And then we have to put in a plan and action. I have a self-awareness tracker in my program, and it's so simple. And I was inspired by the book Triggers, because they have a similar form in there. And I just kind of crafted and changed it a little bit in mine. But now you, every day, let's just say, what's a good scenario? Let's say for entrepreneurs, it's let me put 30% of my tax money away in a bucket, right?
Yeah.
Like everything that comes in, let me move money around, move money out into and start prepping for my taxes, right? Because entrepreneurs, we have to do that. But what's the
Yes.
biggest block? It's, I don't make enough money to take 30% out, right?
Yeah.
But even if it's $1 or 50 cents, it's that habit, it's that practice we have to develop in
Yeah.
order to get to that our next level. So the tool of one idea, there's so many strategies out there, is on this self-awareness tracker. Let's just say that the statement is, did I do my best to? And you can list whatever it is that you're working on. In this case, it's put 30% of my income this week into my tax bucket.
Yeah.
And so you start with, did I do my best? And then you grade yourself Monday through Friday, 1 to 5, 1 to 10, whatever scale you want to use, and you score yourself. And then the goal is to beat that score. The goal is to get a perfect score, that you did it and you did it and you watch it. And it's micro actions, attainable action for you to practice. It's small, it's focused, you're paying attention. That did I do my best? It inflicts that personal responsibility. Did you do your best? And if you didn't do it, okay, let's try again tomorrow. And that simple practice, it helps you change your behaviors and patterns. If you're not doing it, the question is, what keeps getting in the way?
Yeah.
Like, if you're not doing
Digging
it
deep.
now, yeah, and that's where you go into too with your coaches. Well, why?
Yeah.
And that's where we want to say why, because we don't want them to feel it. Like, why aren't you doing it? Like, what is the reason? There's a reason. What's getting in the way? And then they give you an answer, and you say, okay, and what else?
What else?
And what else? And you just help them dig and dig and dig, and your word, peel, get it all out.
Yeah. Peel.
Because we can't move forward if we don't figure this out. So that's just one idea, one example.
That's beautiful. I love how tangible that was. And I'm sure my audience will appreciate that, because it sounds so simple, right? And I always say the solutions to most of our problems are simple, not easy.
Yeah. We
They're
can find
simple.
them everywhere. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
find a solution to everything and
Ex-
anything,
yeah.
especially now.
Yeah, exactly. Especially now with AI, right?
Right. But are
Yeah.
you
But the
doing
thing
it?
is, can you get the mindset that is needed to do the
Yeah.
work, right? And sometimes we struggle with that and we need help and we need to reach out to experts like you, right? So that's fantastic. I think it's such a simple yet effective trick to build daily habits that will then lead to a sense of accomplishment. I love like checking off the
Yeah.
boxes and like I did this and I did that and I did that. And
Yeah.
it's so exciting.
Yeah.
So I think that sense of accomplishment then feeds the need to do more of this, right?
Yeah.
And it can
Yeah.
overcome some of the emotional baggage that we might be carrying around money, right? Because I know for me, I had to work on my money mindset to overcome this concept of, am I worthy of making more? Right.
Yeah.
And the worth was attached to that. And I don't know where and when that became a thing in my head as a child, but it did. Right. And it's like, okay, I need to work on this. Money is not, I remember like as being in a networking group and somebody asking, like, what's your goal financially? And I was like, I don't have a number. And they're like, well, how do you measure success? And I was like, impact, impact, impact.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was like
Yeah.
so oblivious to the idea of money as power, right?
Yeah.
And now when I think about money, it's totally different. I've done a 180 on it, where it's like,
Yeah.
okay, money can help me give back more. Money can help me make an impact in areas that I care about. Money has the power for me to build community and take my friends to like a seminar, a workshop that I love, or a retreat. And there's so much more that can be done with it, and it can be put to good use as long as I'm a good steward of money, right? And so that was the
Yeah.
reframe I had to make. Yeah. So such.
That's so good. That was like me. Like mine was, I hated it. I hated looking at it. I didn't want to look at it. And back then I was like, I didn't even want to look at my bank accounts because I didn't know if it was zero or -0. And I had like overdraft fees. Like I didn't want to go there. And so I ignored it until I don't know who I stumbled upon, but I'm sure somebody like helped me. And then what I did was I rewrote my story and what I wanted my relationship, and I put together a sentence. My money mindset, or money means to me, it was like, for what was my first sentence? It was like, sexy, supportive, and fun, maybe. And then I did a vision board that supported all of that. And like supportive was like all my 401k, my own investments as an entrepreneur, term insurance, whole life insurance, annuities, right? Building all that. And then the sexy was like lingerie anytime I wanted for my leggings. And then fun was like going and be able to do whatever I want, whenever I want, conferences, retreats. And so I had to really change that sentence. And then I did a vision board on it and I hung it up. And then you have to do the work to show up. Like, are my actions in alignment to what I say I want?
Alignment. Yes, that's the word.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true, right? I mean, we are so conditioned to think about our problems intellectually. And while that's wonderful and gives us great tools and language and, frameworks, there's also this whole emotional side and the intuitive side to our lives. And when all of those get in sync, it's like, okay, well, I don't have a money mindset issue anymore, right?
Yeah.
So, but we need all three. We need all of them to be in alignment. And so I love that you're not only giving them a simple like tracker sheet, but then also asking the questions of like, okay, why are you having trouble with this? Why is this a struggle? What's going on? Let's dig a little deeper, and doing that same work to peel, feel, and heal. So I love it. I love it. That's fantastic. Yeah. And, I was just reading some stats the other day, and it was like almost 50% of the country is in credit card debt. And I'm like, this is wild, right? That we can't manage our money, or don't have the tools, or don't have the support to be able to do that, right? And the way the world and society is designed, it is not helping us achieve that, right? And so the work you do becomes so much more important then. And it's so crucial for us to hold space for people and help them do this work. So I love that we use the example of money. I feel like everybody struggles with money, so it's going to be a good one.
And gosh, I mean, I've been there. I've been in rock bottom. I've been in negative 30K debt on credit cards. And
Wow.
it took me forever to like climb out. And it's scary. I've had to boycott Target because I found a pattern. Like every time I would go to Target, I'd come out with $300 bill, and I just got sucked in. But I found that pattern, and I was like, I have to boycott it. Like I have to. And then I learned what I used to do was I would get over that urge of buying, and I would put things in my cart, but I wouldn't pay for it.
Mm.
And that was a small step to like stop, right? Like
Wow.
for me, I couldn't just not go and shop. It was like, so I would
Yeah.
put it in the cart, but then I would like, okay, I got the urge, I put it in the cart. And then I would like self-talk and self-coach myself that I really didn't have the funds to spend this because I'm still paying off this 30K debt, right?
Wow. And you're
So
talking about
that was
physically in person or online?
in online,
Online.
in person, I didn't go.
Yeah, because I
I
was like,
just,
that's a lot of willpower
no,
that you have
in
because you're going
person, I
into the
just,
store
yeah, no, I couldn't even go
online.
to, so that I couldn't go to the store. It's like in the grocery line, I can't go down the cookie aisle because I know my willpower is not when I'm in the cookie line. My
Mm.
willpower is not going down the cookie line. But you learn
Yeah.
this when you are hanging out in self-awareness
Yes, you learn about
and doing the
yourself.
work.
You
Yeah.
get to know yourself, right? And
Yeah.
it's so important. That's like one of the things I say is all the spiritual books and all the psychology books, the first thing they tell you is get to know yourself, know
Yeah.
thyself, right?
Yeah.
And so you learned about your behaviors. Tell me, what is it about, this need for more or need to buy things? Like, where is that coming from? Because is this just the way society is like, where is it coming from?
Honestly, for me, and I think that mostly everybody would say it's me, but not everybody would admit it, right? But it's the comparison
Mm,
because that's where it comes from for me. I will admit that. Every time I'm shopping, it's because I feel like I don't have something that I don't have enough, or I don't have it, it's not good enough, or it's not
mm,
pretty enough. It's not the best blazer, or like, right, like it's not trendy. It
yeah.
always goes back to comparison, comparing something against someone or some platform or something online. Like for me, that's where it always goes back to.
Mm,
I don't need anything. I have everything I need in my house.
yeah.
I don't love it all,
Yeah.
but like anytime I go shopping, it's out from something I saw online in comparison, or like to fill a void.
That's it right there, to
Yeah,
fill a void,
fill
right?
a
It's
void.
we're all filling some void, and that
Yeah,
is so true. Like I remember when I was working on learning how to eat clean, it was like, okay, I needed to dig deep enough to understand what my triggers were and why was it that at 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. I lost control and ate whatever was
yeah,
in front of me. And I realized it was because the trigger for me, the void, was I was bored. I wasn't feeling
yeah.
fulfilled. My kids would come home at 3 o'clock. I would try to give them snacks. I would fatten them up because they were skinny minis. And
Mm-hmm.
and then they would sit there and they would eat like a quarter of whatever I gave them, and then they would walk away. And I was like, there's nothing meaningful and purposeful in my life. And let me eat. Right. And that was like the coping skill.
Yeah,
And when I realized that that was the trigger and that's why I was doing it, it just was like, that's so silly. Like, why am I doing that? There's so much I can do with my life. So at 2 o'clock, I would have like a protein shake and then they would come and I wouldn't care. Right. But then there was also on the flip side, I was having this sense of accomplishment where I was, working out and seeing my body get strong and healthy. And I was like, okay, this is worth it. And
yeah,
then one thing led to another. So I think what we're coming down to in this episode is there is both sides to everything, two sides to
yeah,
everything, right? So like I see that you understood your money mindset, but then you had the drive to then take it all the way to, insurance and your life term,
oh
all of
yeah,
that, right? Like you took it
yeah,
all the way. So that drive was yours, but you needed the impetus of like changing the mindset first.
yeah,
And so the same thing with this. I feel like we fall for comparison, and comparisonitis is huge, right? For all of us.
yeah.
But then I think also there is this scarcity mindset that is being created by the marketing companies,
Oh yeah.
right? And like I think about the snowstorm we just had, and
Oh,
I think I went to Trader Joe's and the bread aisle was completely empty. And I'm like, how much of this bread probably got consumed in one day? Like how much? Right? Like everybody bought everything. And then one day later, we're back to normal. It was one day. Like I could probably survive. Like you said, there's everything in your house. If I use the food in my pantry and my kitchen, I could survive probably a month.
I know.
Right?
I joke. My husband and I, we just had this conversation. We were just talking about this weekend with family. And I'm like, every time we go on a road trip or snowstorms, my husband goes out and he buys everything. And he buys chips and it's like this snack. I'm like, what is this that like triggers this like junk food fest
Oh
for
my
him or something?
God.
It's so, I'm
Right.
like, we don't need any of this. And we have 1,500 cans of soup that he bought. And I'm like, what? I don't understand.
Yeah, we could be ready for a bunker if we need to.
Yeah, we could too.
Yeah, my husband does that too. And I realized he's a doer. And I was like, I think because you like to do, you need to have something to do on long drives. And so you have snacks.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're filling some void somewhere, right? It's all connected. And that's what I love to dig deep into with my clients as well. Amazing. I'm loving this conversation. This is so great.
I know.
All right. So if somebody is struggling and they're listening, right? Or they're trying to break a habit. I know you said awareness is the first step. Is there a question or like a quote or a sign or something that you can give them that will be like, okay, do this first? Because if you're in the middle of the struggle, sometimes it's hard to get to that state of awareness, right? If you're like, how do you even identify the pattern or break the pattern? Like, where do you start?
Okay. So I had this exercise, I think it's in my program too, the self-awareness. It's like I held like a little, less than an hour presentation on tracking your self-awareness. So if you were to get a piece of paper and write down mindset, fitness, relationship, nutrition, wellness, like categories in your life, friendships, communication, anything that they can think of. There's no right or wrong. Like just break it down, everything we live for in our lives and everything we touch, like self-help, like all the things, self-love, any category, right? Just like I named. And then the question is like, there's three parts. It's, are you where you want to be in that area? So like communication, how well is your communication? Love, where's love in your life? And the question is like, where are you? You can do it on a scale of 1 to 10, right? The goal being at 10, right. Or you can break it down into like self-awareness. It's either, I have no clue because I'm on autopilot and like, because you've never thought about it. So it could be like, oh my gosh, relationships, I actually haven't thought about my relationships in so long. So I'm going to put a 0 because wasn't even aware. I'm neutral, right? Yeah. But then the next question is, or the next phase is, are you aware? Like, I'm aware that I have friends, but I haven't reached out to them. I haven't hung out with them. Like, you're not doing anything about it, but you're aware that it's an area you need. Like, I need friend time once a month. You know this about me? Yes. Like, my friends, like, we're trying to go away this weekend because we've all had some really bad stuff happen and we're like, we need to get away. And we're trying to make that happen because we know we need it, right? So we're working on it. But you could be in the phase where you need something. You need to be healthier. You need to strengthen your marriage. You need to strengthen communication, or you need to improve at work, whatever that is, or parenting, whatever that is. Again, no right or wrong. It's you get to take this assessment. But you're aware, but you're not doing anything about it. That's that second part of self-awareness. Then the third part is you're aware and you're actively working on achieving your next level in that area. So it's like 3 stages. Autopilot, not even aware, like not changing it, haven't thought about it in a while, who knows, been too busy, I don't know, right? Then it's like, I am aware, this is a gap in my life, I want to improve in all these areas, but I don't know where to start, or I'm just too tired, or you're not doing anything, whatever the reason is. Yeah. And then there's like, you know what? BS. I'm done with it. I'm going to find help, get support. I'm going to join the gym, get a trainer. I'm going to go and I'm going to actively change this area in my life that I'm not 100% or a 10 warrior mindset at. and I
Right.
want to improve it.
I
So
love
those
it.
are like the 3 phases. Or
Yeah.
if you do 1 to 10, you know the drill. Scale 1 to 10. I'm a 5. Okay, well, what is it going to take to get to a 10?
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. This is beautiful. I think we've given everybody so many great tools to
Yeah,
implement and get access to what is really going on in their mind. I am so grateful that you were able to be here today. I know it was
thanks.
short notice, but I know I could count on you. And I can't wait for this episode to go live and for people to learn from your wisdom. Tell everyone how they can connect with you, how they can find you. What is the best way?
The best, most direct is my name, my website, susanvernicek.com, and everything that I'm attached to, you can find from there. Books, the
Beautiful.
magazine, coaching, all of the good stuff.
Speaking. Yep. All of it.
Yeah.
Awesome. And we will link
Thank you.
everything in the show notes. Thank you so much, Susan. I appreciate you
Thanks
so
for,
much for being here.
I appreciate you. Thanks for having
Yes.
me.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.